Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Transport, has he read the latest... Sorry, I'll start again. Has he read the recent American report, Transportation Funding and Job Creation, which shows that every stimulus dollar spent on public transport yields 70% more job hours than motorway spending? And in light of this, will he review his government policy statement, which spends the largest part of our transport money on new motorways?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Speaker, I have had a quick look through the document, which I have to say is a reasonably flimsy read. It's written also from a partisan approach, which has to be said is not a million miles from the philosophy of the member. It seems to suggest that spending on transport projects should solely be based on the number of people that work on the project. Not surprisingly, the government takes the view that the spending on transport projects have to be focused on the results each project achieves, particularly building stronger economic growth, which is a big focus of this government.
Gareth Hughes.
Can the Minister confirm his government policy statement cut funding for all transport classes except new state highways?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, no, it actually grew them for most of them, and just not at the speed that the previous government, which of course was highly influenced by the Green Party, was proposing, which a little led to dislocation in the wider transport sector.
Gareth Hughes.
Can he confirm that his government policy statement had average cuts of 26% for walking and cycling, 50% for public transport infrastructure over the next 10 years in order to fund new state highways?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, they weren't cuts, as I said, but I'm quite proud of the fact that this government has reoriented its investment in transport infrastructure to reflect the actual means by which New Zealanders move around and freight moves around, and I don't think there'll be much disagreement from the public for that.
Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Based on those old trends, which, for example, the Puhoi to Wellsford motorway is, based on 2006 commuter data, out-of-date oil projections, isn't this just like investing in a CD store just before the iPod comes out?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, no, and I should point out, seeing as the member has raised his favourite roading project, that project between Puhoi and Warkworth carries more people per day than the entire Auckland commuter rail network. And the difference between projects that carry traffic already and projects that might carry traffic one day is that you have to look very carefully at the assumptions of those that might, whereas the reality of those that are already carrying that sort of load is in front of you today.
Gareth Hughes.
Given the government's focus on jobs, why did his government policy statement cut funding for road maintenance when expert analysis shows this creates more jobs than new motorways?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, the difficulty I have with the member's analysis is you take it to its logical conclusion, we should just basically hire a whole bunch of people with scissors to cut the grass beside the roads and the railway track. It's not about how many people you can get to work, it has to be about the outcomes you can achieve, and I invite him to consider that.
Gareth Hughes.
Supplementary. So what is the Minister's response to Northland Regional Councillor Joe Carr, who said this week, "I think we need to say to the government that they've shafted rural communities regarding cuts to road maintenance and sealing"?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, that is not correct, but can I point out to the member that at lunchtime today I met with, coincidentally, a number of members of the Northland Transport community, including members of the Northland Regional Council, Kaiapoi District Council, also the Whangarei District Council, and they were all united in their approval for the government's project for Puhoi to Wellsford and asked us to complete it as soon as possible.
Gareth Hughes.
Supplementary. Will he, as the new Auckland Super City Council has called for, review the cost effectiveness of the new motorway north of Auckland?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, the member seems to be of the view that it's a fantastic idea, as the previous government did, to bring 3 lanes of traffic north of Auckland to the Halton and paddock outside Puhoi with 1 lane after that. I don't think it does, and I think the established demand that's created is necessary to be provided for an alternative route. And on that basis, we will be proceeding with the project, provided it stacks up on the standard business case analysis.
Point of order, Gareth Hughes. Order, a point of order has been called.
Mr. Speaker, it was a clear question. Will he review the cost effectiveness which the Auckland Council was asked for? It's a simple question.
Okay, the Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, The only dinosaurs around here are the Green Party, who seem to think that the answer is that if we all worked with spades, we'd all be a heck of a lot more productive. But, Mr. Speaker, no, we won't be seeking to do that. It'll be going through the normal process. We will be seeking a review of the business case for the CBD rail tunnel, because it's crucially important when you're talking about notional future demand to make sure that you actually have it based in fact.
Order. I couldn't hear the answer to that, but is it a point of order, the Honourable Gareth Hughes, point of order?
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave to table this graph produced by the Green Party Advisory Unit, which tracks the transport activity classes in the previous government policy statement versus his government policy statement, which shows big cuts for all sectors except state highways.
I'm becoming a little concerned about this trend to seek to table documents prepared by political parties themselves. That is not the purpose of the standing order, to seek leave to table documents. It is because taken to a further, the next step would be to table the member's own notes on something, seek leave to table a member's own notes, and it's totally outside the purpose of the standing order, so I won't be seeking leave for that purpose. Point of order, Gareth Hughes.
Speaking to the point of order, if I may, Mr. Speaker.
I'll hear the honourable member.
Leave has been sought already for that purpose today, and I think in the interest of fairness, I should be given that opportunity as well.
Well, I'm going to give a clear ruling to the House on this matter. The purpose of tabling a document is to inform the House. It is not an opportunity to make a point. Debate is the time for members to express their opinions and make political points. When seeking leave to table a document, a member should give the source of the document and the information it contains. The document tabled must be an authentic source. It is not acceptable in this House to seek to table members' own views of the facts or documents annotated to substantiate those views. So I'm making it clear to the House that documents prepared in research units, parties' own research units, or documents prepared by members are not the material envisaged by Standing Order 368. Question number 12, Jacinda Ardern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister for Social Development and Employment, how many people were